Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. I got a lot of clips I want to get through in this one, so we're going to get rolling. We're going to start with this one from the Wall Street Bull. This is Brad Garlinghouse speaking some facts right here. Let's listen into this.
Ripple decided earlier on that we wanted to be at kind of the infrastructure layer, and there's a whole bunch of strategic issues associated with that. One of them, quite frankly, is that if you work with regulated endpoints, that's where all the regulatory frameworks apply. KYC, know your customer, AML, anti-money laundering, all the acronyms. If you work just with regulated endpoints, they're making sure that that is the case. Companies like WeChat have to do that regulatory work themselves. Now, Swift is kind of a competitor. It's slightly more complicated than that because Swift is really just messaging. When you send a Swift transfer, it's not liquidity. You're actually sending bank messages to banks that have liquidity. So to some degree, Citibank and HSBC, really the top two, JPM, those are the top three liquidity banks. And when you're sending Swift messages, you're sending messages to banks to release liquidity and making sure the debits and credits match. So to some degree, really boil it down, Ripple's competing with the liquidity of Citi and the messaging of Swift, but in one, because we're both messaging and liquidity.
So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because obviously, from the stuff we've seen from, Chairman Gensler and the SEC and just the coordinated attack against crypto in general, the Ripple versus SE case is truly the one to set precedent and, pave the path for the rest of the industry. So it's important that we all understand how vital it is, not only just from the utility and use case of XRP and the company Ripple, but just when it comes to case law and fairness and justness when it comes to the crypto market in general, how important this is. So we're going to come over here and Jeremy Hogan, there was a clip that Digital Asset had put up from one of Jeremy Hogan's videos. It says, what end SEC versus Ripple settlement would look like, the escrow. So that's been a lot of the conversation that's been happening as well. So like what happens with the escrow, that fat pot and bag of XRP that Ripple holds themselves. Obviously it's dwindling, as the days go by, but they still hold a fat portion of it. So let's take a quick listen into this.
And if Ripple is nervous about the potential outcome of the case, I can even see them agreeing to pay a percentage of any sales of the escrowed XRP, or if you want to get really deep state thinking, Ripple could even agree to confiscation of a certain amount of the escrowed XRP to the state. Now, maybe that's a little fringe conjecture, but here's something that's not. Ripple is apparently at a place business-wise where it could likely afford to make sales from escrow to only accredited investors or to corporations, thanks to its on-demand liquidity product. Now, this might make the SEC feel better about the public sales from Ripple because Ripple seems now to be in a position to do that. Look at this from a May 2021 Cointelegraph article. The company also reported that over the quarter, 3 billion XRP has been released from the escrow holdings, while 2.7 billion XRP have been returned to new escrow contracts. So Ripple is re-escrowing the large percentage, or a large percentage, of the XRP that it holds in escrow and maintaining its business functions from sales to its ODL customers. And those customers are bank and money transfer services, etc., not exchanges, not Joe Public. These are private purchasers. So if that's true, it puts Ripple in a good position to agree to only private or Section D sales to accredited investors.
I mean, I know there's been a lot of speculation as to what's going to happen with that escrow that they hold. My theory, and just kind of from the information that's out there, I just don't see, I will say the government, I just don't see them allowing them to keep that. I mean, if they're just like, Jeremy Hogan saying here, if there is some sort of, fine print, strict stipulation, maybe. Or maybe Ripple has some sort of plan to, divvy it out to, the central banks around the world that they have partnerships with. Who knows? But I just don't see how they can hold, especially if it's supposed to be this, the main infrastructure to this new financial system, right? I don't see it. But, there has been some speculation that, maybe Ripple, all this is just some charade, just some show, right? Just to kind of, put on this display, but then in the background, they're already, laying the piping down for this new financial system, and Ripple's a part of that. Who knows? I think it's quite interesting, just all the different, narratives that people spin out, and I can understand why some of it may seem like it's true, but we'll see. It's just kind of a waiting game. This is from Mr. Huber, formerly known as Stefan Huber. It says, listen closely. This is the answer why Ripple got sued and Ethereum got it passed. The loss of friction and power from the incumbents is what their Wall Street lawyers like Clayton or Tabbert are most afraid of. Let's take a quick listen into this.
The world is going to change in finance when we connect the private blockchains via the Bitcoin or Ethereum or other protocol to the other blockchains in the world. Have a global blockchain that's the World Wide Web of blockchains that will fundamentally change the way in which not only do we move value around the world at the speed of light, but also in which we actually fundamentally change the way in which we compute, because it's the fourth computing paradigm I've experienced in my lifetime, the decentralized computing paradigm. That is the vision of where we can really go with this. That's transformational. Now, the first step will be the intranets, the blockchains, as those get deployed. But that's not the end point. That's just the first step. And go into all that stuff, great on length if you'd like me to. But that's the beginning.
No, look, it's transformative. I want to go back to something we talked about around monetary policy, which is if this happens, which I think I say if, I think you're saying when. I get it.
You have a little bit more to do with the if than we do. I'm just kidding.
No, and look, Jay, my view is it's happening.
Yeah.
What is the U.S.'s role?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But I'm gonna go further because
Use my right hand. Yes, you're right.
yes, because we're both involved in companies that are doing it. We'd like to do it here, but we're gonna do it.
Well, let me ask this back to what we were talking about, measuring things in our global economy. This also sounds incredibly deflationary because of the costs that will be driven out of our system. Agree? Disagree? I mean, if we're going from paying a percent on a retail basis, 2%, 3% to move things around to virtually nothing.
Well, let's maybe the nomenclature is important. Deflation is not necessarily a bad thing.
People need to understand that.
If my being able to buy something
It's
at a
just
lower
part
price,
of the dual mandate. That's what the problem is.
right, exactly. Right.
No, but let me say.
But
if
the
those,
mandate is about real interest rates.
Yeah.
let me put this at a U.S.
But Jay, the question is, who pays? This is
That's where I'm going.
okay. All right, then ask your question.
My question: You want to
Nice, I guess,
you want to be in the position where you've introduced this cost savings across the globe. You don't want to be a taker. You want to be somebody who leads in this area. I think what you're saying, because we now do have a global economy, and these savings are global. You want to be a leader, but look, been a leader in many things.
Agreed. So look, the issue is in Glenn and I haven't talked about this before. It's interesting. We're having our first conversation on us both attacking sort of the same problem.
We're going to leave it there. Long story short, man, it's been evident there's been a coordinated attack against Ripple, the company, digital asset XRP, and just the entire space in general. They're trying to create a monopoly and get a bigger piece of the pie and obviously hand it off to the incumbents. There's no secret there based on the evidence that's been presented to us. Stefan Huber had put this up. He says, or excuse me, Mr. Huber, it says, why am I so absolutely 100% sure we are right? Just imagine if there was a lawsuit against Brad Garlinghouse describing happy hour drug parties at Ripple and Brad's regular LSD use. Oh, I bet you that this story would have been all over international media, and with a Lubin and consensus question mark. So then he puts up these highlights some stuff in here. So it's talking about marketplace for prostitution, Friday happy hours, unknown origin and marijuana pills, psychedelics, LSD, and some other stuff here. Crazy. That's the thing. That's the thing that's frustrating. Is like when the law's applied, right? Or the confusion, if you will, the so-called, it's quite clear for them, but it's like they apply it to certain individuals or certain groups, right? So they're picking and choosing, like we talk about winners and losers, right? Why not have it evenly spread around? Apply everything the same across the board. Level the playing field is what we're saying. That's the most frustrating thing about it, because the way that they're trying to implement law and regulate and all this stuff, obviously it's wrong, right? But all they're doing is hurting the everyday people that they're so-called set out to protect. The everyday people that don't have millions of dollars like these people do. But no, they're protecting their pockets. That they're having that, IGM mentality, that I got my mentality, and they're trying to control the narrative. That's the most frustrating part about it. This is from Representative Bill Huizenga. Says the SEC under Gary Gensler won't stop until they radically transform our markets to appease the far left. More government is not the answer. Read my latest warning at Fox News on how the Biden administration is coming for your investment account. This isn't a politics channel, but dang, it's crazy. We're not idiots. We got to keep piecing together all this stuff and keep spreading the word, keep making content, and Try to fight the good fight in the best way we can. It's crazy, man. This is from Ben Armstrong, Bitboy Crypto. It says, if American people knew how much money and resources Gary Gensler and the SEC is wasting on frivolous lawsuits, he would be removed already. But I'm glad you aren't, because the pain and public embarrassment coming your way is going to be the torture, and you deserve every second of it. So he's pretty much saying, once this Ripple versus SEC lawsuit ends with Gary Gensler and the SEC taking, a big low to the face, it's going to be enough shame and embarrassment from it that he doesn't need to be removed. Let him go out with his big fat L in his face. Take it how you want it. This is John Deaton responding to JV's when he's talking about Congress doesn't. If Congress doesn't step in, it's going to be hard for all of crypto to escape securities laws. Take Apple and Android, for example. If they both had coins that represented their networks, would they be securities? The devs that continue to update these networks are unknown. So John Deaton says Congress isn't going to step in before 2025. So we've been covering that on this channel, in which, from what he's saying and how he's, bringing that argument to light, I can understand that. It says, it will not happen. The Senate is not bringing Gary Gensler before the banking committee until September. Elizabeth Warren gives him the questions and answers anyway. And the FSC might not be until June. The fight is in court. God bless that we got, John Deaton and, the attorneys and lawyers that we have within our camp. Because quite honestly, if we didn't have them, who knows where we would be? Who knows where this space would be? Because they're the ones that truly, made things clear for us. Obviously, we have smart people within our group that aren't legal minds, that's been researching and stuff. But it's like there's more to it when it comes to these legalities and, obviously court verbiage and language and all that stuff. God bless them. Here goes another one from John D. It says 2025 is the earliest we get comprehensive crypto legislation passed into the law in the U.S. The war will continue to be waged in the federal courts across the U.S., even if Ripple flat out wins. The SEC will argue it has no impact because each case is different. Facts and circumstances. Okay, so what's tragic is Ripple, the company, other digital assets, blockchain companies, right? This is what they try to say too. It's like, okay, this is what we do. Here's our use case. Here's how we rolled out our project, right? We're different from, these other projects that flat out did an ICO and rug pull. We're different, right? But Chairman Gensler and the SEC and the like, they try to classify crypto as, in a general sense, as a whole. But here's an example of exactly what they're going to do. No matter if when Ripple wins, excuse me. Okay, that's going to be pertinent for Ripple and XRP, right? Huge. That's huge for the community. There may be some verbiage and language in there that, the rest of the space can use to help them fight their fight, but they're going to have to go to court and fight their fight against the SEC, because it's quite evident right here. It says the SEC will argue it has no impact because each case is different. But when people are going against the SEC and the government officials alike, when it comes to representing themselves and trying to fight for themselves, defending themselves, and they throw up that same argument, hey, this is a different case, facts and circumstances, it's irrelevant. But when it comes to them, they can use it. Double standards, straight conflicts of interest, and it's just shameful. And that's so frustrating, because literally it's that verbiage and that tactic is what's hurting the everyday people like myself. And it really pisses me off. I mean, it really does. It's almost irritating. It's so irritating that it's laughable. And I almost feel bad that I laugh sometimes when I'm making this content. But it's like, what can we do? What else can we do? It's just a waiting game at this point. Tragic. This is from Mr. Huber. It says, according to the SEC, what Ripple and XRP holders did is 7 times as bad as what Terra and Do Kwon has done. With Luna, the SEC wants to punish only the defendants. With Ripple, the SEC wants to punish the defendants, employees, agents, lawyers, and all people who have anything to do with them. I mean, you literally can't make this stuff up. It is tragic. All this does, as much as it frustrates me, sometimes it hurts my feelings, especially because I continue to accumulate and I hodl digital assets that have been under pressure from the SEC. It's just shameful, and it's extremely laughable, because it's obvious what they're doing. the more we the more we make content and we spread the information that's out there, the facts, it's just laughable, because it's like, damn, do you really think we're that dumb? And with that, it literally makes me more bullish. I'm telling you, if I had an enormous amount of money like these, like Chairman Gensler, he has 100 million, right? 100 million plus portfolio. I'm telling you right now, if I knew this, man, I would be unloading into Ripple, the company, digital asset XRP, and other projects that actually have real utility and real use case. Because the way that this coordinated attack is happening, it just tells me, dang, man, they're trying to do everything in their power to keep us from hodling, keep us from accumulating, to change the financial course of our life. They're doing everything in their power. That tells me I need to get more, and I need to hodl strong. I mean, I know a lot of you out there are saying the same things in the chats and stuff, but like, that's literally what I get. There's a lot of emotions that go with this. All right, I want to cover this too. This is from RizXRP. It says, the SEC is the problem, not Ripple XRP. SEC has no case. Buying time for the incumbents. Literally what I was just saying. It says, hashtag Gary Gensler resign. It's a complete shakedown. He's talking about the regulation by enforcement. It is a complete shakedown. Let's take a quick listen into John Deaton here.
I was shocked, Kathy, when I read the SEC. I was actually proven wrong. They proved me wrong about something in this case. Before the summary judgment motion was filed, I told the XRP world and the XRP community, stand by, because I predict the XRP might have some evidence against Brad and Chris and Ripple that are not public yet. And it might be a couple bad days for Ripple, publicly, kind of optically. And when I read the summary judgment, there was nothing there. It was just that, hey, they talked about, how they want to promote the XRP ecosystem and how they want to get XRP increased in value and things like that, and how XRP is going to be successful in the future. Everything that a Bitcoin person says, everything that Ethereum person says, everything that Charles Hoskinson from Cardano says about their platform, nothing there that was unique. And as you know, there's no fraud in this case. There's not one allegation of fraud. So this is a pretty straightforward case. And I've become more and more, I try to stay, not too optimistic so I can give people more objective advice, but I just don't see how the SEC wins this case at this point. I really do. I'm going to go on a limb and predict a victory for Ripple and XRP holders.
Huge. Okay, so John Deaton's approach to the crypto space in general, he's made it quite evident. It's not just about Ripple and XRP. He just saw wrongdoing. He saw conflicts of interest. He saw, everyday investors being hurt. So he felt compelled to do something about it. If it was any other project, like he said, if it was Ethereum and the circumstances were the same, he would be representing Ethereum. He would be representing Ethereum hodlers and investors. I mean, because he saw that it was more than just one platform, one digital asset. It was the entire space. He brought up some good points. So he's talking about this is obviously a non-fraud case, and then there was nothing unique, right? When he was talking about Brad Garlinghouse and the like, talking about, oh, well, yeah, I want this for the platform and I want this for, XRP. And pretty much talking about, hey, we want to continue to build, grow, and, offer more. It's not just about cross-border remittances and international payments. It's not just about that. How can we build? Obviously, we have a focus. How are we going to continue to build, right? Just like any other tech company that's continuing to innovate, with the times. We have put blatant video, not just video, we're talking about audio, video, documents of Ethereum. And this is no shame on Ethereum. I hodl Ethereum, but it's like you have Ethereum representatives talking the exact same way to a times 10 degree though. But why is Ripple and the digital asset XRP being scrutinized the way they are, but not Ethereum and the people that are on actual video footage talking about, disguised wells, disguising their purchases and, the ICO and sales, and you get in early and you get double. And it just makes no sense. And it's stuff like that keeps people like myself and obviously other XRP community members locked in, because they're trying their best. They're trying their best to really keep it from us. But we're not gonna put our blinders our blinders on, and we're not gonna put our tails between our legs and cower away because we see the writing on the wall. So I'm gonna just leave it there. I got like four more things here. So this is from Sean Adams. It says Gensler's next strategy is to go after Do Kwon and UST because he knows no one will defend them, and if he wins, he'll establish broad precedent for more control over crypto. It's evil genius. So quickly, we talked a lot about that on this channel, and we see it's clear that's their tactic. I mean, look at what's happened. Obviously, they tried to go after the big boy, right? They tried to go after Ripple. What happened? They have the capital. They have the truth on their side. They have facts on their side. They have true utility use case. There's no fraud. So that was a huge mistake from Chairman Clayton in the SEC, and now, Chairman Gensler in the SEC. That was a mistake by them. So now what they're doing is they're going after these smaller projects and platforms, and they're getting these projects to, pretty much liquidate all their money to defend themselves or, settle. What they'll do is they'll have a settlement, right? And then they'll come after them later, and they'll have to repay all those fees all over again. Pretty much bankrupting these platforms, truly trying to bankrupt the industry. Crazy thing is, like, now you have them going after Do Kwon and UST, and all of a sudden now that the biggest financial collapse or I guess you could say the biggest Ponzi scheme of our time, well, at least my generation, you have FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried, right? It's like, okay, why act now? Like, at what point were you that cop on the beat, like you've claimed in video footage to the industry? The crazy thing about all this is it's out there. It's not like it's a secret. It's not like it's not something that we don't see or understand. But this cat is still getting away with this. And we talk about, Congress and Tom Emmer saying this new day's coming. It's like, okay, when? When are you going to step in? Is it really going to be 2025 like John Deaton says? Or are you going to step in and save this industry and really save the small investors that are in this space? Are you going to save the United States from, dropping the ball? I mean, they're pretty much already fumbling it. Crazy thing. We're going to cover this. I thought this was quite intriguing. This is Mike Selig. It says, I think it's like a 10. Okay, it's like 7. All right, so I thought this was interesting. So it says, don't sleep on the SEC's action against Do Kwon and TFL. The complaint includes a ton of novel legal theories that can be applied to stablecoins, wrap tokens, liquidity pool tokens, and other crypto assets. Steady, lads. So really, really soak that in. This is crazy. It says the SEC isn't just classifying crypto assets as investment contracts or notes anymore. The SEC alleges wrap tokens to be securities because they are, quote, receipt for a security, and a stablecoin to be a security because it is, quote, right to subscribe or purchase a security. The SEC receipt theory can be leveraged to indirectly target crypto assets such as ETH by bringing an action against the issuer of the corresponding wrapper or arguing the wrapped asset is a security, so therefore the wrapper is a receipt for a security. Don't let that go over your head. The point is they're trying to literally connect everything. It's like, okay, well, A connects to B because A equals C. I mean, they're literally trying to just web everything together to fit their narrative. That's what he's doing here, long story short. He says the SEC theory that a stablecoin that's convertible to a security is a, quote, right to purchase or subscribe to a security can be used against almost any crypto asset. Finson uses this reasoning to regulate all crypto assets as a monetary value because they're convertible to money. The SEC's reason that a token without native yield is an investment contract because purchasers expect profits based on the ability to deposit it into a yield protocol supported and marketed by the issuer. This may be leverage against layer 1s and layer 2 grants and DeFi liquidity programs. Hopefully bad facts and unsympathetic defendants don't make bad law here. So he's responding to Ryan C. Adams' tweet that we just covered. We'll see. I mean, it's evident what they're trying to do. We'll see, with time. This is John Deaton right here responding to Mike. It says, Mike is 100. There's a well-planned and coordinated strategy being carried out. The SEC is pursuing novel, dangerous theories, expanding the definition of what constitutes a security. It started with calling tokens like XRP, LBC, and Dragon, etc. as, quote, digital asset securities. Long story short, as time goes on, obviously we're going to get more. I guess you're getting closer to regulation. Obviously, we have the Ripple versus SC case coming to a conclusion this year at some point. Who knows when? There's been speculations at end of March, maybe early May, late May, early June. Who knows? Sometime this year, you know, God forbid if it ever goes, you know, any further than that. But as time goes on, we just know as time goes on, more stuff's going to happen. We know adoption's happening day by day. More and more people are jumping into the space. Every day, people like myself are starting to, you know, take their blinders off and see what this space has to offer. And if we come over here to CoinGecko, let me go ahead and refresh this. We're sitting at a $1.17 trillion market cap. Bitcoin sitting at 24,690. Ethereum sitting at 1696. XRP is at 39 cents. So long story short, if you look at, you go to any chart, you can go to TradingView and you zoom out, you'll see over time, despite this fear and greed index, all that stuff, right? It's all merely interesting because over time, when you zoom out, the trajectory has been in an upward. It ain't vertical, but it's been in an upward pattern. So we know that this space is in its infancy stage. So what do you think is going to happen as time goes on with this space? Yeah, there may be some people, some projects that, you know, fizzle out just like a lot of projects have in the past. But when it comes to the solid projects that truly have true staying power, true use case, adoption is going to be tremendous. And I like this clip that I want to play. I'm going to end on it. It's 48 seconds. It says the correlated market is going to be like nothing we've seen before. Can't wait. So let's listen into this.
In 1980, when I was first figuring out what the stock market was, people used to say, would the Dow ever reach 5,000? And a lot of people said that could never reach 5,000, right? I mean, Bitcoin is limited in supply. Its adoption rate is up. Its purpose is as a protection against bad macroeconomic policy, which God knows we're certainly living through. So typically it follows a cycle, and all of the charts suggest it's right following the cycle right now. It's roughly around the nadir of what the historical cycle would predict. It's a 4-year cycle. The next halving, right, when the rate of Bitcoin release is cut in half, is in 2024. What I would expect is Bitcoin will be relatively flat for the next 12 months or so. We'll start climbing in advance of the halving, and then we'll increase. What day it gets to 100,000, I don't know, but I'm strongly of the view that it will.
Yep, we have charts to prove that, Kay. They say men lie, women lie. The facts in the charts don't lie. And when it comes to even the fundamental analysis, it's just a matter of time before, you know, the rate of adoption is just mind-boggling. But that's what I have for you. I know this was a long one. There's a lot to cover. But make sure you come to the Crypto's Key Conversation YouTube channel, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at Crypto's Key 1. I really appreciate your support out there, you guys. With all that being said, stay strong out there and be safe.